okay? Hello there, my fellow humans. It's your boy, the Unusual Geek here, and today, trigger warning. So there is a popular controversy surrounding the Titanic community that instead of, let's use my shirt for reference. Instead of Titanic trying to go around the iceberg, she should just hit it head on. And that, she, ram it head on and maybe damage, up to her collision bulkhead, damage her bow up to the collision bulkhead. Maybe some crew and seamen who lived up in those areas might have died, but she would have survived, she would have stayed afloat, and that's that. No problem. I have a very big problem with this. First of all, that's not the point of a transatlantic cruise, is to go bounding from iceberg to iceberg. The whole point of it is to have a nice, calming journey from one side of the pond to the other. And you're talking about, you're transporting rich people, people who have authority, who have say in things. So if you're bounding from iceberg to iceberg, if they get back to shore, they're gonna be like, that was the worst experience I've ever had. Don't go on that ship because they don't know what they're doing. Boom. It's bad for business. It's bad for the ship. It's bad for everybody and everything. Deck officers aren't trained to steer into hazards because the sea can be unpredictable, as in the case with Titanic. We don't know the characteristics of the collision. She scraped on the iceberg. Some experts believe she went up on a shelf of ice and caused damage underneath. A grounding effect is what they call it. Especially in the book Futility, the prophecy book that came out before Titanic, the Titan in that book ran up on a shelf of ice, fell over, and slid into the sea. But just for sake of your argument, let's entertain the idea for just 1 second. Let's give Titanic the most optimal conditions, that the iceberg presented a wall face to her. You're talking about 45,000 registered gross tons going at 22.5 knots, ramming head on into an iceberg. The physics are against it. You're talking 45,000 gross tons coming to a dead stop within a few feet, however much the Titanic can penetrate the iceberg. I believe it was Park Stevenson who did the calculations for this specific scenario, and he said the energy generated by such a collision would have been, if I remember, 16 times the yield strength of the steel. So you're talking about an entire structure collapse of the ship. You're talking about bulkheads being affected. The destruction from a head-on collision would have been way worse than what actually happened. Now, why do people constantly go to this head-on collision theory? Well, a lot of people will point to the SS Arizona. The SS Arizona in the late 1800s, I don't remember the exact date, but she had a head-on collision with an iceberg, which damaged her entire bow up to her collision bulkhead, but that collision bulkhead held, and she was able to limp back to port. And there was another ship, I forget the name, who also had a head-on collision and survived. So people think, oh, well, that's precedent, that you should do that. I say no, because here's the problem with that. People keep pointing to these smaller, slower ships. Arizona, for example, was 5,000 registered gross tons, give or take. going at most 15 knots when she collided with the iceberg. Titanic, like I said, 45,000 registered gross tons, give or take, going at 22.5 knots. Yeah, no, it's completely different scenarios. My final thoughts on this, to anyone who says, oh, Titanic should have just hit the iceberg head on and she would have been fine. No. No. The whole point of a cruise or a luxury liner is to have a nice, calm experience sailing from A to B. Not to hit every obstacle in sight. No. Not only are the physics against it and the training of the captain and crew against it, it's just stupid. You're stupid. Yeah, go read a book. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like what you saw, hit that like button. It really warms my heart when you do that. If you want to see more, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to ding that little bell next to it so you guys can get notifications whenever I upload a new video. I'm the Unusual Geek, and I'll see you guys in the next one.